Hello, this is Evelyn. Welcome back. This is your video 2 of your Winning Hearts and Minds CPD training. Welcome back again to Real Focus. I'm so glad to see you here again for the second round video. What we're going to be looking at now is some combinations of conflict of the different types. And when I say combinations, we have some what we call harmonics. Yeah, and there are 3 different groups within the 9 types. We have 1, 3, and 5 for perfectionist, achiever, and observer, all competency-based outlook. We have the 2, the nurturer, the 7, the innocent adventurer, and the 9, the peacemaker, or the harmonizer, as positive outlook types. And we have the 4, the creative, the 6, the questioner, and the 8, the night reactive types. And we're going to do some deep sea diving here of these 3 groups, and also 3 main types that you're likely to encounter in both your personal and business life when it comes to managing conflict and disputes. And those 3 types are 1, 8, and 6. So let's move on. So this is, guys, this is question 5A in your assessment paper. I'm going to read it. You're going to write some notes down in regard to answering the question in your assessment paper. The perfectionist you've already seen in the video, Patrick's video. So just to confirm and to reinforce your learning there, the perfectionist is someone with a basic desire to have integrity and be balanced. Their motivation is they have a need to be right and to improve the world, and they want to be consistent in their ideals and to be beyond criticism. Their basic fear in life is they don't want to be seen as being corrupt or defective or evil. They seek rightness. It must be right, it must be correct, it must be, by the book. If you are a perfectionist and you lean towards the 9 wing, which is, of course, is the peacemaker, the harmonizer, then you are an idealist, you are a dreamer and an extremist, perhaps. If you are a 1 leaning toward the 2, which is the nurturer, you're more an advocate and a supporter of other people. So the subtypes are self-preservation, social, and one-to-ones. And the self-preservation, all 3 have a passion for resentment, really, some anger and resentment. And this drives them towards wanting to be perfect all the time in their environment. So self-preservation ones, they have an excessive sense of responsibility. And this is often a result, not always, but often a result from the child being left with a huge responsibility. As they grow, their focus remains on ultimate protection in all that they do. Their anger can leak out as irritation or resentment or frustration or even self-righteousness. The social ones, they kind of hide their anger, half hide their anger. They believe that they know the right way to be and model that for others. They have a tendency to want to show they are right and make others wrong. The one-to-ones or sexually ones, they are explicitly angry. They're impatient and invasive and go for what they want. They have a sense of entitlement and they have an intensity of desire which is fueled by anger, motivating them to want to reform and perfect other people. So a 1 on the stress and growth chart there, the 1 moving towards stress is going towards 4, and they become moody and irrational. The 1 moving towards growth, towards 7, become more spontaneous and playful. Let's look at some types that are a 1 so you can get a good feel for it. Nelson Mandela, Katharine Hepburn, and if you're into the Game of Thrones, the character Jon Snow. I love that saying of Katharine Hepburn. She says, if you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun. And this is very typical of a one, because the ones tend to want to do things right all the time, and they actually do stress about it. So lighten up a little bit and have some fun in life. So there on the left-hand side, you can double check your answers to the question in your assessment paper, and notice on the right-hand side other people who are perfectionist types. We have Meryl Streep, Harrison Ford, Kate Middleton, Mary Poppins, Mandela, Plato, Gandhi, all those people. In Game of Thrones, we have Ned Stark, Jon Snow, and Davos Seaworth. Let's take a look at what's hard about being a one, a perfectionist, a ruler. If you are not this person and you have had conflict with this person, this personality type, what I'd like you to do now is to really immerse yourself and into their shoes. Try thinking like they think, and this will help you to do that. What is hard about being a perfectionist? Well, it's about being disappointed with myself or others for that matter, when I don't meet my expectations. It's about feeling burdened by too much responsibility, thinking that what I do is never good enough. And there are 3 universal fears in life, and one of those fears is not being good enough, another is not belonging, and another one is not feeling worthy of love. Not a good place to be. We all, at some stage in our life, have some or all of those, or part of those, universal beliefs which hold us back. They create roadblocks for us. So not a nice place to be. Not being appreciated for what I do for people. Being upset because others aren't trying as hard as I am. Obsessing about what I did or what I should do. Being tense, anxious, and taking things way too seriously. If we look then at what's good about being a perfectionist, I'm self-disciplined and able to accomplish a great deal. I work hard and make the world a better place. I have high standards and ethics, not compromising myself. Being reasonable, responsible, and dedicated in everything that I do. Being able to put facts together, coming to good understandings, and figuring out wise solutions. Being the best I can be and bringing out the best in other people. What about the child perfectionist? Do you know a child perfectionist? Were you once a child perfectionist? The child perfectionist criticize themselves in anticipation of criticism from other people, particularly parents. They refrain from doing things that they think may not turn out perfect. They focus on living up to expectations of their parents and teachers, and are very responsible. They may assume the role of a parent if they feel the parent is irresponsible. They hold back negative emotions because good children don't get angry, right? The perfectionist, as a parent, they teach their children responsibility and strong moral code, strong moral values. They're consistent and fair, and they discipline firmly. When we look at the whole group, the 1, 3, and the 5, there is a reaction to conflict, and they all agree in this group that they can find a logical solution. There may be some, disagreement about it, but it's not got a lot of passion or emotion attached to it. It's really quite dispassionate, and they find the most efficient and practical method for solving the problem, solving the issue, coming up with a solution. Okay, we're all adults here. Let's get out the clipboard. Let's go through the checklist one thing at a time and get this resolved. The reality is, guys, some resolution strategy here for you. Remember that rules and logic alone cannot solve the world's problems. Consider the feelings of others, because we are all human, right? And the human is an emotional being. So when we're an emotional being, we can't solve the problem of emotions using logic. It just doesn't work. Rationale and logic just doesn't work, not totally, right? So it's really important that you understand that we have to Deal with the emotional content first, in addition to the logic. Yeah? If we then look at the strengths of these three types within the group, the perfectionist is willing to assert themselves and deal with consequences, logical and pragmatic manner. Great people to have on board. If you have someone on board who is an achiever, they take a problem, they look at a problem-solving approach to it, a very practical approach, they're very action-focused, and they just move forward. If you have someone on board that's a 5, an observer, or the sage, they resolve issues through logic, self-reflection, and inquiry, and they will go in their own time and do their own research until they think that yes, this is the way to go forward. Looking then at development tips for these three types within this group, the perfectionist to be more open to alternative points of view, particularly when you disagree with someone. If you're a 3, an achiever, explore your feelings more deeply and share them. Don't take someone else's being upset or as a personal attack. And if you're a 5, an observer, be willing to explore your feelings in real time. Explicitly ask for time out and explore your reactions. If you want to get along with this perfectionist, this ruler, what things that you want to do here is take your share of responsibility. So don't end up with all the work. Acknowledge my achievements. I'm hard on myself, so reassure me that I'm fine just the way I am. Tell me that you value my advice. Be fair and considerate, as I am, and apologize if you've been unthoughtful. It will help me to forgive. Gently encourage me to lighten up and to laugh at myself. When I get uptight, help me to laugh, help me to find the joy. But hear my worries first. Remember that focus on my desire to be known for my integrity and my consistency. My motivation is to be right and to improve the world. So take a moment now and just reflect. Reflect on, have you found yourself in a heated dispute with this type of personality? Go to your additional resource kit on page 17 and write some notes down there under the perfectionist. Have you ever found yourself in a heated dispute with this personality? Or is this you? Ponder that thought. Now, you've wisely invested some time to watch Patrick's story, and you've taken the journey inside to see what drives the behavior of the perfectionist. So ask yourself this: have you attempted to deal with this personality type in the past and found the challenge too great? Have you missed opportunities dealing with this personality? What do you need to learn? Now that you have more resources, what learnings can you implement immediately that will result in a more positive outcome? A lot of people find themselves in disputes that on the surface are not important. They're not important at all, and you want to be asking yourself, why is this such a big deal? You might have even thought, well, hell, I can't even remember what started this conflict. But you can see now that these things can be important to that personality, and yet in the big scheme of things, it doesn't even matter. Is this just your ego? Is it just their ego being met? Or is this really important? When you're looking at conflict in regard to the workplace or the home, know that it can be used productively. Too much conflict creates distrust and fear. Too little creates a lack of innovation because people are way too afraid to disagree. And don't sweep it under the carpet, because it depletes energy when you do that. It stalls forward momentum, and it appears masked as something else like lack of engagement or passive-aggressive behavior, and so much more. So a different approach is with the Enneagram, and the conflict application here allows you to approach the conflict in an alternative manner. So what you want to do is minimize stress, increase self-development, reduce reactivity, and This system creates collaboration. It enhances productivity. So the combinations of these groups, when in conflict with another person in the same group, for example, or with other groups, our own personality gets in the way. We become frustrated because the other person doesn't see things the same way that we do. And by not communicating at the same level, we are unable to agree on the scope and the importance of the problem. So this quote on the screen is for The Perfectionist, and it's a quote by Paulo Coelho. And he says, we can never judge the lives of others because each person knows their own pain and renunciation. It's one thing to feel you're on the right path, but it's quite another to think that your path is the only way. So rethink that, my way or the highway. Really worthwhile rethinking. Let's look now then at the protector, and this is question 5b. And just, fill in your answers there as you did before with the perfectionist. And for those of you who would like to see another video, I have a video of the Knight, which is, if you scroll down the bottom of the page where you found this video, you'll also find a video there for the Knight to give you some more insight to the Knight. So the basic desire is control, survival, and protection. The key motivation is to be self-reliant, prove their strength, resist weaknesses, and to be important to the world. They want to be in control. Their basic fear is vulnerability. They don't want to be seen as vulnerable. Being hurt or controlled by others is not what they want. They seek power. They want to be strong. If you're an 8 with a 7 wing, with an innocent adventurer wing, then you're a power broker. You're bold, you're unapologetic, and you're impatient. You're moving from adventure seeking to empire building. If you're an 8 with a 9 wing, which is the harmonizer or the peacemaker, you're a powerhouse. You're strong and you're silent and you're powerful and unchallenged. You're moving from empire building to empire consolidation. The subtypes of the 8 are filled with passion and a lust over power. So the self-preservation 8, they have a strong need to survive. They're compelled to go forward, to go with what they want in a strong and very direct way, and they're so very impatient. The social 8 has a need to protect others and to go up against anyone who commits injustices. Symbolically, not everybody has been through this, but symbolically, this is the child who became tough through protecting a mother or a father or even a sibling. Yeah, often their strong need to care and protect others results in giving up the need for loving their own inner child. They compensate by moving towards power and pleasure. The 1-to-1 8s are so very passionate, they're charismatic, they go against conventions in a really provocative way. They're fascinating, they're charismatic, they tend to be more outspoken, often called the rebel. They live the rebel really, really well. Rules are meant to be broken. They don't seek material security, but they do seek power over things. So when an 8 is moving towards stress, they become more secretive and fearful, going toward the 5. When the 8 is moving towards growth, which is closer to the 2, they become more open-hearted and caring. So some examples of the 8, remembering on the left-hand side there, check your answers to make sure they're correct. Other examples of the Knight: Winston Churchill, Tommy Lee Jones, Jack Nicholson, Serena Williams, Aretha Franklin, Sean Connery, Clint Eastwood, Susan Sarandon, Matt Damon, and Russell Crowe. If you're into the Thrones, Tywin Lannister and Cersei Lannister are knights, but they're dark knights. Yeah, they're in shadow. Whereas Arya Stark and Khaleesi, they're white knights. Yeah, they're in light. If we look then at what's hard about being an 8, if you are not an 8 and you have been in conflict with an 8, please take a moment here to step into their shoes. Feel where they come from. Yeah, see through their eyes and listen to what's being said here. It's hard to be what's hard about being an 8 is they're overwhelming people with their bluntness. They're scaring them away, and they don't intend to. They're being restless and impatient with others' incompetence. Sticking my neck out for people and receiving no appreciation for it sucks. Never forgetting injuries or injustices. Don't lie to me. Don't go against me. Putting too much pressure on myself, getting high blood pressure when people don't obey the rules. And I'm not talking here about the rules of what's right and wrong and the rules of society. These people make up their own rules. They have a very high moral standard and they live by their rules, and they want you to live by their rules also. So what's good about being an 8? They're independent, they're self-reliant, they're able to take charge and meet challenges head on. They're courageous, straightforward, and honest. Getting all the enjoyment out of life they possibly can, supporting and empowering you and others, and protecting those that are close to me. They uphold just causes. What about an 8 child? Do you know an 8 child? They're independent, they have an inner strength and a fighting spirit. Sometimes they're loners, they seize control, and they won't be controlled. They figure out other people's weaknesses very easily. They have a very high intuition, they have a gut feel, and they go with a gut feel. They can attack verbally and physically when provoked. They take charge in the family because they perceive themselves as being the strongest and often have grown up in difficult surroundings. As a parent, they're often loyal, caring, involved, and devoted. Sometimes they're overprotective, can be very demanding and controlling and rigid. Let's look now at question 5C, the questioner, the skeptic. Write your answers down there in your assessment book. The basic desire here is to feel supported and secure. The key motivation is to have security, feel supported, test attitudes of others, fight against anxiety and insecurity. Their basic fear is insecurity itself, being without support and guidance. Again, they seek security. If you are a 6 with a 7 wing, being the innocent adventurer, you are more the defender and quick-witted. If you are a 6 with a 5 wing, more toward the observer, then you're a good buddy and you're a good one to have around because you share your knowledge. Subtypes of the 6 are all different, but they do have a passion for fear, and how they deal with anxiety is quite different. The self-preservation 6s, they're warm and affectionate. They perceive the world to be dangerous. They seek security and stability, and they want the embrace of family within a protected place. They don't really like aggression. The social 6s are cool and obedient. They're concerned with duty, benchmarks. They need to know the rules. Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? The 1-to-1 or sexual 6s, they're hot, they're aggressive. They have an inner program of when afraid, the best defense is attack. They go against danger from the position of strength, and their anxiety triggers their skills and readiness in the face of attack. A 6 moving towards a stress level is going towards the 3, and they become competitive and arrogant. If there is 6 moving towards growth, they're moving toward the 9, and they become much more relaxed and optimistic. Check your answers there on the left-hand side. Other people in the 6 category: Mark Twain, Julia Roberts, Sally Field, Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan, Princess Diana, Bono's U2, U2's Bono, Melissa Etheridge, Mel Gibson, Sarah Jessica Parker. If you're into the Game of Thrones, Stannis Baratheon, he's a dark 6. Catelyn Stark, Robb Stark, and Brienne of Tarth are all in light. The questioner. What's hard about being a questioner? If you have ever had problems with this kind of personality type, get into their shoes right now, take it on board, feel it, listen to what's being said, and see it through their eyes. The constant push and pull involved in trying to make up my mind. I procrastinate because of the fear of failure, having little confidence in myself at times. I fear being abandoned or taken advantage of It's really exhausting worrying about scanning for danger all the time, wishing I had a rule book at work so I could do everything right, being too critical of myself when I haven't lived up to my own expectations. So what's good about being the questioner? About being committed and faithful to family and friends, being responsible and hardworking, compassionate toward others, having a true intellect and wit. I'm a nonconformist. I confront danger bravely, and I like being direct and assertive. So what about the child 6? Do you know a child questioner? They're friendly, likable, and dependable, and sarcastic, bossy, and stubborn. They're anxious and hypervigilant, anticipate danger always. They form a team of it's us against them with a best friend or with a parent. They look to groups or authorities to protect them, and they're always questioning that authority. They are true rebels as well. When, as a child, again, not always, but it can be, that as a child they were neglected or abused, or they've come from some unpredictable or alcoholic families, and they tend to take on the fearfulness and over anxiousness of the parent. So what's the 6 like as a parent? Well, they're loving, nurturing, have a strong sense of duty, sometimes reluctant to give their children independence. They worry mostly that their children are going to get hurt, and sometimes have trouble saying no and setting boundaries. So let's look at the whole group, the 8, the 4, and the 6, in regard to the conflict. When they're all talking together, they all agree that this is a big deal, and they all react emotionally because they are emotional beings. They are very reactive. They understand each other. They have a mutual sense of importance about the problem. They like to vent, feed off each other. Oh, this is so terrible. Oh, yeah, what are we going to do? Oh, there's nothing we can do. This is so terrible. Guys, the resolution here is, the strategy is, get real. The conflict or problem is not the end of the world. Venting and resolving their feelings doesn't address the root cause. Let's look at the strengths of each of these types in conflict. The 8s are willing to go head to head in conflict. They will do whatever it takes when required and take the necessary time to resolve it. The 6 have a deep desire to get conflict resolved. They handle complexity and facts and context honestly and with integrity. So let's look at some development tips for you if you are an 8. Manage your expression of anger. Yeah, hold it back. Manage it. Recognize that your anger may be masking your sadness or sense of vulnerability. If you are a 6, give yourself permission to be angry. It's okay. Recognize that some of your beliefs are true and some are not. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. So how do I get along with the Knight, with the Protector, with the 8? In any situation, I will seize control rather than be controlled. I won't risk being controlled. So be confident, strong, direct, and respectfully stand your ground. I'm independent. I have an inner strength and a fighting spirit. If I speak in an assertive manner, don't take it personally. It's not always about you. Listen to what's not being said. Don't gossip or betray my trust or lie to me. Often, these people have grown up in difficult or abusive surroundings, so strength becomes power. And protecting the vulnerable becomes their focus. They have their own moral code, so allow them to stand up for you and empower you. Acknowledge the contributions they make and stroke their ego. Be vulnerable and share your feelings. See and acknowledge my vulnerable side. I do like the feeling of close connection. Give me the space when I choose it to be on my own. When I scream and curse and stomp around, try to remember it's just the way I am. Remember to focus on my desire to be in control and my need for power. My motivation is to resist weakness, be self-reliant, and prove my strength. So how do I get along then with the skeptic, with the questioner. I want detail, so be very direct, clear, and assertive. Listen to me carefully and don't overreact to my overreacting. I'm intelligent, I'm loyal, I'm lovable, and I can be relied upon to keep morale high. Acknowledge my strengths and commit to my cause. I'm hardworking, I'm often anxious, hypervigilant, and always on the lookout for danger, so reassure me that everything is okay between us. I'm a constant push and pull, constantly trying to make up my mind of how to move forward with these projects or change. So gently nudge me toward a new experience or new experiences. I fear being taken advantage of, so keep calm. Help me feel secure. As parents, they trust. They're loving, loyal, and nurturing with a strong sense of duty. And the same applies in a professional environment. Once they trust you. Without rapport, I do not trust and may take on an egotistical quality about me. So you must prove your case. I'm evidence seeking. Show me. Show me the evidence. Remember that my focus is on my need to feel supported and secure. My motivation is to have security, feel supported, test the attitudes of others, and fight against anxiety and, in fact, insecurity. So now take a moment. Who do you know in your life that you may have had conflict with in the past? Who do you know that might be that 8, that protector, that knight, and make some notes on it? Who do you know that is that 6, the questioner, the skeptic? Take some time now to write some notes about those different conflicts, because when you do that, when you go there, you'll find that things will be different in the future. Take some time to consider when you've found yourself in conflict with these people. These are reactive people, these last 2 in particular. What was the issue really about? How is it a problem for you? What did it cost you? Is this something you would like to change now? How could you turn this around? What's the biggest bonus of doing it differently? What will changing this allow you to do? So take a moment now. I'm going to finish this video up now, and I will see you in the next video, the 3rd and last video of this CPD training session. So thanks so much for being here. I look forward to chatting with you again real soon. Ciao for now.